Hello. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to scale a coaching business. My name is Matthew White, and we help coaches and consultants get to $100,000 a month. We help build world-class coaching businesses, and we have simple systems to help make that happen. Now, I'm going to go through a journey with you and give you my perspective on how to scale a coaching business based on the fact that we have our own businesses, which we've scaled up to 4.2 million over the last 2 years. And I'm going to talk about that journey and what that looks like and the systems that we've developed to streamline this process so that we can grow further. It's not easy, it's simple. The context of simple is about making things streamlined, using systems to make it happen. So to get to $4.2 million has been no easy feat, for sure. But we've simplified the process so that we can grow further and take it beyond. Now, this video is only for you if you're wanting to get to that $100,000 a month mark. So stick with me. You're going to learn a lot of valuable insight. And I believe that if you implement even just a small fraction of what I show you today, your growth is going to be exponential and you're going to be able to see an impact. All right. So in this journey, it's taken quite a few years. I've been working outside of a job for more than a decade now. As a matter of fact, since I left school, I've only worked in a job for about 6-7 years in max altogether. So I've worked for myself most of my life. Unfortunately, I made my first million when I was 24. By the time I was 28, I'd made a few more million. By the time I was 30, I'd lost it all. And the reason I lost it all was because of complacency, and the stuff that I'm talking to you about today, I didn't have in place to help me sustain that level and keep growing. So I started from scratch later on in my life, and I learned some very valuable lessons. And I went into a job and then left that job, resigned to follow my passion as a coach and to help as many people as I can. Right? Because I really care about people. I really care about helping people and getting them to that next level, to help people grow their businesses and be successful without it killing them, without it causing overwhelm. Because building a big business or a scaling business or scaling a business, if you don't have processes and systems in place, it can be very difficult. And I want to go through 3 of the biggest lessons I've learned. We'll start off with that, right? The 3 biggest lessons that I've learned that I think is a good starting point for where we are right now. Right, so here's the important lesson, right? So at $10,000, 10K, to reach 10K, to reach 50K, and to reach 100K are very different layers. At $10,000 a month, or $10,000 in revenue, right? This was fundamentally the hardest part of the journey. It was breaking that ceiling, getting into that momentum, figuring things out. What was it that I was really helping people with? Who am I serving? How am I going to get clients into the funnel? And what am I going to do to keep that process moving? From there to there, it took me quite a long time. And it probably for most people, the biggest struggle. To get from there to there was a very, very easy leap. I just kept doing more of this stuff. And when I did more of this stuff, the revenue increased, right? But here's the thing. When you get to this point, right about here somewhere, right, getting to that journey, there's a huge shift that happens. And the huge shift that happens from there to there, right, and the increase in the growth, 99% of it, I believe, is mindset. It's not skill. It's not that there's not enough demand. It's not that there's not enough clients. It's mindset. It's the energy and effort that you put into it. That's the biggest difference. And so, but in saying that, at this point here, the key driver to take you to that next level is systems. So mindset and systems are the big game that we're playing when we grow our business. If you get around that and you understand that is the fundamentals, every day is about that. Improving systems and being on your game and doing whatever it takes to be focused and on track. Another big lesson I've learned, coaching and business are 2 very different things. Now, I love what I do and I'm passionate about helping people and making an impact and getting people to build successful world-class businesses. But there's the side of me that loves doing it. I don't always get to do that from the context of how I thought it would be when I first started it, because I'm growing a business. And business and coaching are the 2 components of that are very, very different outlooks and very different perspectives. What I've learned over the last few years is that if I want to make an impact as a coach, if I want this to be something that I enjoy doing and helping people and making a big change in the lives of people, I need to put business first. I need to put business first. Every day I wake up, business comes first so that I can drive revenue and profit to help more people. Because without having this mindset, you don't help people. And I put the people second, not because they're not important. I do that because they're more important. And I know that if I don't do this first, I'm not going to be able to serve my people properly. So I'm very fixed on making sure the business is running smoothly so that I can do more to help people in the long run. And also on this side of it, I'm very careful about the people that I interact with, engage with, my clients, and who I serve. What I've learned over the years, and it's a painful lesson when you go down this path and you realize that not everyone is suitable to work with you. Not everyone has the capacity to work with you, and you can't help everyone. Unfortunately, I wish I could help everyone. That's why I'm doing these YouTube videos, to help as many people as I can. But you can't help everybody, and so you have to make some sacrifices and understand that in order to grow, you need to build a business. Only when you build a business, then you can look after people more. This is a very valuable lesson that I've learned, and it's helped keep me on track. Okay, number 3. This is a biggie that I've learned, and I think it stands true across the board, and it's a very important fundamental lesson of how things work, right? Here you are, wherever you are here. Yes, scaling business, 100K a month, right? Ran out of space there, but you get the point. So 100K a month, this is your journey, right? Guess what? Super simple. Super simple. If you're here now and you want to be here, what you have to do is do whatever it takes to keep that path straight. It's a straight line. It doesn't wave or change or go all over the place. You're here, you want to make $100,000 a month so you can make an impact and grow a world-class coaching business, then do that. The problem is, and this is what happens, and these are the checks and balances you need to put in place, most people struggle from 2 very core things that pull them off the path. The first is fear of failure, right? Fear of failure is a huge impact on people, and it stops people from moving forward and doing the things they're meant to be doing. The other side of the coin is distraction. Distraction. Fear of failure and distraction. Those are the 2 biggest barriers that any entrepreneur, especially if you're building a coaching business, will face. Now, fear of failure is wrapped around a whole lot of stuff, right? And it's like things like imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is huge, right? That stops so many people, and there's a huge blockage underneath that fear of failure. And the last thing is the cost of entry. The cost of entry. Am I prepared to pay the cost to get to that business, to get to that result? The cost of entry, there's 2 costs that you're going to pay. There's effort, which is wrapped around time, and money, which is also wrapped around time. So effort and money are your 2, that is the cost of entry. How much of it are you prepared to put in to make that happen? If you can get through these barriers, these are internal barriers that prevent people from moving forward, you're going to make that whole journey a lot easier. Getting over these things, right? And this is an internal battle that you can have, and we have a system where we help our clients break through this very easily. On the other side of the coin, distraction. And this is huge because people are not aware of this, and a lot of this is it's hidden, but it's external stuff that happens. So this is externally around you, right? Distraction, right? What other people say, the people around you talking negatively, talking you down, talking you in different directions, not being positive, being negative. Just people in general can be a huge barrier to getting to the results you want. Nowadays, I'm very careful about the people I have around me and who I work with, people on my team. No negativity. We all help to build each other up. So people are a huge distraction, and they can cost you a lot of money if you're not careful about who you're around. The other side is emergency, or the perception of emergency. When something goes wrong, technical stuff in your life, things that you weren't expecting, things that just came out of the blue, these types of things are a huge pain and can get people derailed in a second. What I do these days is I'm very careful about what I consider an emergency. When somebody starts panicking about something, I've got to ask myself, is this really an emergency, or are they just getting emotional about something that we can settle pretty quickly? So people in emergencies come together. Now I've learned, and in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it talks about this, and emergencies aren't always emergencies. So you've got to be careful about it. And if things go wrong, figure out ways to move forward quickly. And the last thing here, and this is what gets so many people, I think, and it's called, well, we all know what it is. It's media, right? Media, social media, news, newspaper, anything out there that can pull you away, those shiny objects, even ads on Facebook and YouTube, all that kind of stuff can really suck you dry. And you get caught up in this vortex or this wormhole of scrolling and all that kind of stuff. Or you hear something on the news and it's just like, it puts you right off and you feel so negative and think, am I even going to get there? So these are the core ingredients I think you need to understand. This is number 3 big lesson that I've learned. So managing these 2 aspects, fear of failure and distraction, is super important, right? It's internal, external, and value that your space and your parameters and do what it takes to get your mind intact so that you can do the thing that needs to be done. Very critical. All right, so here we go. We're going to start off. You need some building blocks. If you're going to scale a business, I found that the building blocks of your business are super important. And you as the leader, as the individual that's going to take your team and your business to that next level, need some building blocks. For me, this took a long time to work through. I spent a lot of time working on myself in personal development, and I read a lot of books, and I spend a lot of time thinking about the fundamental building blocks of what I need to have in place to be a good leader, to be a good boss, to be a person of influence where I can help people and make an impact. And here's the thing. I think the biggest thing at the bottom here we need to consider, and I'm going to build upwards, right? Your biggest tool as a leader, as you're scaling your business to grow, the number 1 core element you need is empathy. Empathy is the fundamental driver to being able to run a business. This is the baseline of it. But here's the thing, you've got to be careful of empathy because you want to care about people, you want to care about the people around you, and you want to care about the people that you serve. Of course, it's huge, but it has to be balanced because you can go too far over the scale of empathy and it can cost you time and money. It has to be balanced with vision and purpose. Empathy is a fundamental building block, but it has to be balanced with vision and purpose. That means that as much as what you care, you've got a job to do and you're heading in a direction to have and make things happen so you can build a successful world-class business. So super important. Okay, so now the next layer up, which is working upwards, is you need clarity. Clarity is super important. Where are you going? What does that vision and purpose look like? And what is your business going to look like at $100,000 per month? What is it going to be? Are you going to be remote? Are you going to be in an office? Are you going to be traveling? Have clarity on it, what it's going to look like. How is your staff going to be set up? How are you going to outsource? All those kind of things are super important. When you understand that clarity, then it helps you really fundamentally be successful at scaling. And what you've got to have on the other side of clarity is commitment. It's super important. If you have commitment, you have a lot working for you. Committed to what you're doing, committed to driving, committed to making sure your team is looked after, the people that you serve are looked after, that you're not going to go off track, that you're going to keep with what you promise, you're going to make sure it happens. Commitment is fundamentally a huge seed that you need to sow inside your business, inside your life, inside your mind, so that you can drive the scaling. Now, the biggest and most important aspect of scaling and driving a world-class coaching business and to get to that $100,000 a month mark is this: focus. I see so many people struggling with this day after day after day, that when I talked about getting pulled off distraction, not staying on path, having your fear of failure pulling you off, having people pulling you off, emergency, all these things that happen around you, if you're not controlling them or if you're not staying focused, it's going to hinder you. Those that stay focused, I believe, are the ones that have success. So everything I do in my business is about staying super focused and keeping all of these pieces of the puzzle together. And focus is a fundamental driver to success. When you get this right, when you stay on track and you keep doing the same things over and over and over again, you just get better at it. That's when you start seeing the growth happening, the results happening, and you feel good about it. You can know that you put the right amount of effort in to get to that place. Follow one course until successful. Now, the road to scaling to get to that $100,000 a month mark from here to there is really a perpetual journey, right? And here's what happens to most people. You have your product, right? And your product drives your main product drives your results. So everything is around your product, which is built around your avatar, right? And you're on a journey to get to here. So you're going to sell your product, you're going to help as many people, you're going to create impact. Now, the first part of the journey, right, is all built around passion. And passion is a great thing. You need to have passion. You need to be passionate about what you do. But passion, I can tell you right now that most people say that passion is all you need to build a world-class business. And I disagree, because I see that passion can only take you so far. Because most of us that go through this journey understand and realize that there's a point of pain, right? And pain is a big struggle to break through. So there's always going to be a part of your business, a time in your business where things are just going to look like they're not going to eventuate. It's not working out. I'm trying my hardest, but I'm struggling. And so something happens here, and it happened to me that when I broke from here, there was a change from passion, because there was a lot of stuff in here that I didn't want to do, that I realized, I'm going to have to learn stuff. I'm going to have to do stuff. I'm going to have to put in an effort. I'm going to have to wake up earlier. I'm going to have to talk to people differently. I'm going to have to do all these things and learn how to get rid of this pain. But then there's something that happens when you push through, you get to this point, an amazing thing happens. It turns from passion to motivation. And motivation, I think, is a way bigger driver, better driver. And the motivation comes from this thing. Once you have this, everything kind of becomes easier. And this is the thing that you will protect for the rest of your journey in your business. And that's profit, right? If you can battle that journey to get to a point of profit, right? And it's not about the money. It's about the idea that you're actually achieving something. And you can see those numbers working for you, because for me, it's not about the money, right? It's about being able to service the people and to do this thing over and over again. Profit is a way to see that you're having an impact, to see that you're helping and you're creating for yourself, your family, and for your business. When you do that, when you drive profit, everything else is so much easier. That profit then can be put into other things. But the key here is you've got to be able to keep doing these things over and over and over and over again, so that you get better, your performance improves, and this is the one thing you will protect forever, is profit. And we'll talk about that in a second, okay? So this is a big lesson that I've learned. This is your biggest journey. Everything shifts when you get to profit. If you build your business and you work and you do whatever it takes to get to profit, the rest, that motivation plus your passion, will drive you way further than you ever thought possible. And this is the thing. And I'm pretty sure that you've made some money. You're in a position where you're doing well because you're wanting to scale. But having that context is important. Because here's the thing. Here's a very important context to understand, right? You got revenue and you got expense, right? Your expense and your revenue, and then you got profit. I see so many people fixated on this. They're fixated on the revenue. I'm making this amount of revenue. I'm turning over this amount of sales. I'm doing this amount of X thing. And in the background, they're not considering this. And everyone's they're talking themselves up about the revenue that they're making. And that's insanity. That's pure insanity. Because if you're fixated on the revenue, there could be a big problem here that you haven't considered, and it's leaving you in a negative position, a negative profit. You do not want to be in a negative profit. You want to be in a positive profit. And you want to be in the green, making money. So the level of scaling that I find, there's a tipping point here, is balancing your revenue and expenses. And this is the tricky part, right? This is where it comes down to having the right systems in place. So you're working, you get to a point of profit. The rest is all about increasing your revenue, reducing your expenses, and keeping that balance happening so that everything's working in your favor and you're in a positive position as long as possible, hopefully forever. Okay, that's a very important context. Revenue is insanity. Profit is clarity. Remember that. So what do you need to have to build and scale a world-class coaching business? Now, I talk about this quite a lot, and it's fundamentally the building blocks of it in terms of business structure and business performance. First of all, you need equity in your business. It needs to be a value proposition. It needs to be a value that is worth more than what it costs you to run. Clients. You obviously need clients, the right types of clients, and clients that are going to pay you money, and there needs to be consistency in your clients. And then third, which most people haven't quite mastered, and that's control. Equity, clients, and control. These are the fundamental blocks of a successful business. When you do this right, you can get to $100,000 a month in pretty straightforward steps. Now, I'm going to break this down, and we're going to dive deeper into these aspects and get a bit of clarity on what systems you could put in place right now to help you grow your business a lot quicker. Okay, so when it comes to equity, there is an important factor that when you're scaling, a lot of people miss out on this. And I realized this pretty quickly as we were growing. It just stood out to me, and maybe it will stand out to you. Maybe it does already stand out to you. It's this, is that when you first start, you have an avatar. Now, we have a system, the Boldberry niche system. This is to identify $100,000 per month avatar or niche. Very important. So this is our system that we use to drive this result. But here's the thing. When you're starting out, it's important to know your avatar and your niche. We all understand that. In the beginning, it's typically only one. You only have one real avatar that you're looking at. Like, you've created a business around this avatar, and fundamentally, everything you've done is about this one avatar. But when you start to scale, you have to start having a little bit of a different mindset and start looking at if there are multiple avatars that you can service and how you can service them within the context of what you're doing in your business. Remember, you want to stay focused and not get distracted and go off path. So is there 1, 2, 3? Who knows? It could be a few. Now, what I found in my business, that there was multiple avatars. Now, when I first started, we had first avatar. Let me go here and have this one. Right, so when we first started, this was our initial avatar. This was the first avatar that we wanted to teach. They wanted to learn how to do stuff themselves, and we had a very small segment or idea that we were teaching in real estate around how to get property into cash flow with using other people's property. This was a really unique little segment that we focused on. And our core context of our business is cash flow property, right? And so it's really a big segment as it is, cash flow property. And so we first started on this avatar, and this was our building block that we serviced originally. Now, as we grew, we got better at attracting clients, building our business, and we realized that the effort to service this avatar was way higher than the reward that we're getting versus these other avatars that were running around that we were getting in our funnel, and we didn't know what to do with them at the time. And so we changed our business model and then started thinking about it from a different aspect. And so what happened was we ended up saying, well, we don't really want to service this avatar, but these other avatars are really, they've got money to spend, which was way higher. This was a $5,000 training package that we did, $5K. And we went to a $15,000 here, and there was a $25,000 here, and there was a $50,000 avatar here. Now, obviously, they get less and there's less of these than there are of these, but we found that if we could sell packages at $15,000, make more profit, it was easier to run. We were actually upselling on this one, and total packages would go from 15 to even 25K up here on this end, and these could go up higher as well. So understanding that this is what's going to happen when you scale. Start looking at where the value propositions are, and you might have to change your avatar, because avatar is fundamentally your first building block. Now, our system we have is called the Boldberry system. The next system that we have created over the years of doing this is I have a process called Project Focus. Project Focus. This is about getting shit done, right? In any business, and we talked about getting pulled off by distraction, etc., we put in place fundamental principles to keep everything in check, and it works something like this, right? Focus is in this area here. On the outset, we're looking at, in our business and in our lives and everything that we do, our environment, right? This is the things that are around us that we can engineer to make an impact so that we can drive focus. Now, I call it a project because it's always ongoing, and it's Super important that you keep checking up on this, because things change and you might need to adapt. So the environment, your environment around you is super important. How you run your business, how you set up your office, how you set up your life, how you let people into your life. All of these things are very important, not just for your life, but everything around you. On this side, we have the things that you think. So thinking, your belief system. We're checking up on this all the time, right? If you understand your thoughts create your reality, it's important for us to know that thinking, how we think every day, is a building block for staying focused, right? We want to think the right way. We want to be putting the right information in us, the right experience in us, so that we can think the right way, think positively, think in situations where things aren't going the right way. Super important. The other side of it is emotion. This is a huge one, right? Emotion. Thinking and emotion work together. I don't think there's many people or businesses or anyone out there that really understands the impact and cost of emotion. Emotion can cost you a lot of money. Emotion can prevent your business from growing and run you into turmoil very quickly. So thinking and emotion are big key drivers that we work on every day, including the environment. So these all work together. It's very important. And then finally, the doing, right? What you're doing every day has an impact on how you're going to stay focused. So creating that process, that checklist of things that you need to do every day to stay on path is super important. Now, I know this is just an overall view of what we do here, but I'm pretty sure you can see the context of this and how thinking, emotion, and doing and your environment all play a major role in how focused you're going to be. Get these right and focus becomes a whole lot easier. I learned this quite a few years ago, and I've been very committed and dedicated to understanding and really making sure that my every day is protected so that my time is spent best doing the things that drive impact and revenue. That's it. Hence, I'm very careful about who I speak to, how I do business, and I keep these in check all the time, and it's a project, so I'm always working on it, So another important part of equity, and probably this is the fundamental part, is you have an avatar. Your avatar is important. You're staying on track. You're keeping committed. You're doing the thing that needs to be done. Then, as you're scaling, you have what I call a formula, right? A formula. Now, I call this a formula, and every business should have a formula. You should have that magic potion that people want to drink from, that you're going to help them get a result. Whatever that is, as a coach or consultant, you have this unique potion, let's say, that you can give people that will get them that result that they want to get. Who doesn't want it? Something that they can drink and take part of, and it's going to help them get to that place a lot quicker. That's why the supplement industry does so well. In your formula, you have ingredients, right? You have ingredients inside your formula. There's multiple ingredients. Now, a core formula, those that have a core formula will sell a package, right? In the beginning, we sold a coaching package, which was based exactly on this. And when we started selling higher ticket products, it was still based on this. Nothing changed. The formula was the same, except we just delivered it in a different way. And we were able to sell to higher ticket clients, platinum ticket clients. And that was the thing. So fundamentally, the starting block was we created a formula that everybody could connect with and makes an impact on. And then as you're scaling, from a scaling perspective, what you're doing is you're selling smaller ingredients, or you're packaging those ingredients in a different way so that you can sell higher priced packages of this formula. This is a huge shift that I learned over the years, is that when you have a unique formula, no one can really compete with you because it's yours and it's a system-based setup, and it just drives such an impact. And I can tell you now that if you're scaling your business, if you don't have a formula with some powerful ingredients, your competition is just going to walk all over you. But if you do this right, if you have something of unique value and you can show how that looks, you're going to stand out from the crowd, and scaling becomes a lot of an easier process because people want to know what they're going to get. When they pick up the bottle, read the label, and they see all these awesome ingredients, boom, you're well ahead of the crowd. Now, in order to scale, this is still part of equity, right? We're building equity. We understand the avatars. We're going to grow avatars. We've got focus, determination, commitment, and we've protected our environment. We've now got a formula that stands out from the crowd. It's fundamentally the building block of our entire business. So we have a system called cash flow confidence. You need to know your numbers. right? Part of equity is knowing your numbers. And ultimately, cash flow confidence is about profit, right? Putting all your data in place. This is not your cost for acquisition. Of course, the cost for acquisition of a client is important. Of course, your ROAS is important. It makes a big impact on your bottom line. But there is only one number that should stand out for you running a business. If you're chasing ROAS and CAC and cost per click and all that kind of stuff, which are important buttons to be turning along this whole parameter, you're going to lose out on what's important. And the most important thing is profit, because sometimes you need to balance some of the numbers against each other. And ultimately, profit is what matters, because it doesn't matter how much ROAS you have, you still got staff to pay. You still got travel expenses. You still got utilities. You still got all these other things that you need to consider so that you can be in a good position. So having a dashboard that helps you know your numbers more clearly rather than it being scattered all over the place is fundamentally a game changer. So what we did is we took all of the numbers that we knew were important, right, from utilities all the way to ad cost and everything in between, and we put it into a dashboard so that we could now fundamentally know what our profit is looking like. Where are we missing out? What do we need to do to improve? And when you have this dashboard and you have cash flow confidence, that is a big impact, because profit drives motivation, profit drives business. And when you know where your numbers are, everything else becomes a whole lot easier, because you know what you need to put effort into to get working better, to get to that profit position. So putting a dashboard in place and to be confident really drives that equity. So you know your avatar, you know who you're selling to, you know where they're hanging out, you know all that stuff about them. You're crystal clear on your pathway. You're going down the pathway and you're protecting your business. You're staying focused. You got a formula that no one else can compete with. It's an amazing formula that's very unique and you're specializing in. And then ultimately cash flow confidence, because that is ultimately all of your equity packed up. That is your value, knowing what your numbers look like. I get so many people that I talk to that don't know their numbers. They're scared. I spoke to a lady just the other day who said she doesn't want to know her numbers because she's embarrassed of how much money she's spending on things like software and buying products and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, how are you ever going to grow and scale a business if you're not in control of this stuff? Right, next part we're going to go into is we're going to talk about clients, getting clients. Now I'm going to break this down quickly here so that we get a little bit of clarity. Clients, our system for getting clients is very, very, very powerful, and it's based on this. The first thing we need is trust. If you want clients, you need trust. People need to trust you. So you need to have a trust engine, and I call our system Echo Trust. Echo Trust, because you need to be able to echo out there in the form of video that you're trustworthy, so that people love what you do and it's easier to get them interested in what you're doing. You have to echo trust. I see so many scammers out there trying to sell this stuff, saying, oh, you don't need to do social media, you don't need to do this, or you don't need to do that. If you want to run a successful business and you want to get to $100,000 a month, you need to echo trust. You need to build trust. You need to do social media, and you need to do it the right way. If you can't, get somebody to do it, because it's a fundamental part of the whole process. You need a system that can distribute content. We have an infinity content machine that we've developed in this so that we can produce content and it goes out, it gets distributed. We've made it really easy to create content and know what to say and have the right words to say and have the right things going on so that you can echo trust, right? Now, the next layer to that is you need to be able to attract. Attraction is fundamental. And so we have a system that we called Omni Attract. I developed this system from years of struggling, spending a crap load of money on advertising, struggling to get clients onto my calendar for a very long time. When I was going through that, getting to that $10,000 a month mark, I spent way too much money really on advertising that if I'd known this, I would have really saved a lot of money and time. So I struggled with ads for a very, very long time. And then one day I stumbled across this way to be able to Omni Attract. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So it's a way of getting people into your funnel and buying your product, right? Whatever your formula is, buying your product from different angles. Now, these two work together. I discovered that if you can create a trust system and an attraction system, and one of our systems inside here is called the Red Butterfly. Red Butterfly. This is a very powerful way of getting leads at a really low cost, and it works phenomenally well. So attraction is a very core component. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. You can go and reach out, cold calling, cold DMs, all that kind of stuff that people do, which I don't think is going to get you scaling. I don't think I've met anyone that starts with cold calling that scales their business. The ones that scale their businesses start with paying for ads, and then add those other things as a sideline to improve on their revenue. So if you want to build a business faster, paying for ads, that's a cost for entry. Paying for ads is fundamentally the fastest, quickest, and most reliable way you can do things, because when you're paying for ads, you can test quicker, you're getting results, the feedback loop is quick. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I can't spend money, I don't want to spend money, blah, 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 whatever. You want to do it quickly, you want to scale a business effectively, you need to learn how to pay for ads. So our red butterfly method works super well, and I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, so what happens here is you're building curiosity. You build curiosity, you need a system for building curiosity. So you got trust, curiosity. They actually go the other way around when you have it in a funnel, but I put it this way because you got to start with creating the content first, and then you're going to distribute that, and you use the content to drive your ads results. Then what you need down here is desire, right? So trust, curiosity, and desire. These are the biggest impacts of getting clients. Clients need to want to work with you, right? And if they don't want to work with you, they're not going to work with you. They're not going to spend their money. So there is a process for building that desire, and it comes from going through these steps. So if you're scaling a business, these are the things you need to be tweaking on and improving as you're going through the cycle over and over and over again. We do all these things every day on a daily and weekly basis. Once they're systematized and they're put in place, they're pretty straightforward to run. You just have to monitor and manage it. Now, when it comes to desire, right, it's about getting people over the line, right? Getting people to love what you do and wanting to spend their money. You want to spend your money. This is really a closing, right? This is where you close. Now, this is a sales process, but what I learned and I've developed over the years is that I didn't like selling. I've sold to thousands and thousands of people. I've had thousands of sales calls over the years, and I really didn't like the idea of selling to people. They come onto a call, trying to pitch, trying to get people moving forward and all that kind of stuff. It really is difficult to actually sell when you're trying to pitch. And so I changed everything, and I worked out a system where we could sell without selling. And it's a little bit of a counterintuitive approach that we have, but we have, I mean, imagine this. Imagine when you're talking to a friend or somebody, a colleague, and you're talking about this thing, and you're so passionate about this thing, and it just sounds so good, and they just want to buy that thing as well, right? You've just you just found this place that's got awesome food, and it just tastes so good, and you're explaining this thing, and they go, oh, I want some of that, and you go into that. And when you use that context of you're raising that desire, because wanting to have that thing that person had, or increasing the desire to want to do that thing, to buy that thing, is huge. If you can build desire, your whole business is fundamentally going to jump. It's going to shift into another gear. So we developed a system called SCORE. There's a powerful no selling, no icky selling system that we developed, where we ask simple questions and get the clients over the line. The desire increases and the selling process becomes super easy. So we're all of these working together, so powerful. When you get this right, and it's not that difficult, it just means putting the right systems in place. And then finally, what you want ultimately is advocacy. As you're scaling your business, advocacy becomes a very important component of this, because you want clients, right, that come down your pipeline and they're going to tell everybody about what you're doing. So we have a system which is called Love Boost. Love Boost is important. So this is really about delivery. Once you've got your clients into your process, you've closed them on the idea of what you're doing. They're paying you those high ticket prices, under maybe $10,000 or more. This system works really well for the platinum level tickets of offers that you're selling. So you get people, and now you got to deliver. Delivery is super important. You need a system to deliver. The delivery has to be streamlined, has to be effective. It has to make people feel good about what you're doing. When you have that in place, this Love Boost really works really well, and advocacy becomes really easy. Now, this is a pretty robust system, because you've got to present, produce, create, show people how they can get from one place to the next. And it's easiest done in a group setting until you're getting to that level where if you sold a $50,000 package, you're going to spend more time with people. You're going to be more engaged with those people. But when you're selling from around that $10,000 mark, you're doing group type stuff. But you've got to create that advocacy. It's people coming into your process, your system. You onboard them. You have them have a great experience. You get them to feel good about what they're doing. They be engaged in your product, right? The delivery of your product. They do the thing you're asking them to do. That's very important. And then they come out the other side and they go, wow, that was amazing. I'm so impressed. I love this. I'm going to tell other people. This is a very important component that a lot of coaches and consultants miss out on. And it's not that hard to do. You just need to put the system in place. And when people are going through it, they feel good about it. And you're getting all these testimonials and reviews. That's where you want to be. And you can use those testimonials and reviews to drive more business, to get better results. And so when you get to this level, you need to, as a company that wants to scale, this layer is super important, and it's called control, right? And control really comes down to these fundamental components. Now, control first starts with, and these two work together. I'll talk about them. So control, first of all, comes down to process, my little process map, right? Process. Process is a fundamental part of this, and we have this system that we've developed. It's called Noble Automation. Noble Automation. And this is about having a business that can automate and streamline the processes, reducing your cost of expenses, making things more efficient, and keeping in control of all the pieces of the puzzle. You cannot really automate until you first create a process. So many people get it wrong. They want to jump into automation and they don't even know their process. You cannot do automation without knowing what the steps are, where you're going to fit that automation into, what it means, how it impacts your bottom line, what's the cost of that automation. Is it going to drive your customers nuts? Is it going to drive your customers happy? You're never going to know that until you actually first create process. So a big component of scaling and being control is process. Process first, then automation. But this system works congruently with that. And then the next thing is you need an alpha team. You need an alpha team. Now we drive a profitable business on a skeleton team. Like we don't have a lot of people that work in our business because we've got processes. We have automation, and our team is efficient. And the reason why our team is efficient is because we have a system where our team doesn't have to rely on us to be there all the time, right? And they can do work autonomously, and they know exactly what's happening. And so we created the processes, the automation, that work symbiotically together to create a result to drive profit. And these days with technology, AI, and the way that everything is, it's just so much easier to do things with a team, a smaller team that can do more stuff because you have these processes and automation in place. But it starts, if you want to control your business and you want to be able to not worry about things going wrong, the very first part is process. Then with your team together, you're creating automation, so you know the flow. Now you've got everything streamlined. You need more revenue because you can't pay for all this stuff without more revenue. So we've developed a process which we call profit ascension. You're going to want to scale. You know the process. You have a team in place that's helping you grow. In order to pay for all this stuff, you need to level up. Same thing as what we did. When we first started coaching, we started selling these $5,000 packages, and they were really good. We're doing really well in the beginning. But then we realized that if we wanted to scale, we needed to get more money to pay for the stuff so that we could do more things and make an impact. So profit ascension is a critical component to getting more dollars coming in. And it happens on two components. It can happen in the back end, or we're selling higher priced products or services or packages, or it can happen in the front end where you're selling lower ticket stuff and you're getting more revenue in the front end, reducing your ad cost, making more revenue. But the point of the matter is that you need a way to increase your revenue. And if you have all the other systems working and they streamline and the machine is well oiled and it keeps going, everyone's focused, you have this momentum happening, this year becomes pretty easy to do. And the impact of this is exponential. Because a small bit of leverage here can change a whole lot of stuff without impacting all the other stuff. You don't have to change a lot. You start adding these revenue streams into your business, boom. Next thing you're going from $50,000 to $100,000 like that. And the growth will happen exponentially. And then finally, this is super important. I wish I learned this way earlier in my journey. was that to have ultimate control and to elevate yourself from your business, you need to have a control place, a place of control where you can elevate yourself out of the business. If you want to scale and want to be a leader and a coach that you're supposed to be and not get stuck in the minutia of everything all the time, it's important to have an elevation system, right? And I call this royal elevation, where you can be working on the business rather than in the business. It's a very important context. And if you're working towards this, you're going to be much better off. It's very empowering when you can know that you can rely on these to drive everything else, and that you can be consistent. Now, you don't want to obviously let things slip. You've always got to be on the button, on the pulse, if you're around this level. But it's super important that you have a way to control everything. And the way to control everything is to have a dashboard where you can see everything happening, right? The cash flow confidence is one of that part of that, where you know your numbers, you know your KPIs, you can see how people are delivering, where they're delivering, what the results are. Everyone is held accountable through the systems and processes that you put together. If you do this and you build this whole process out incrementally and you put the right systems in place, it's really empowering. It's a great feeling to have a business making money, running itself, not all by itself, but where it doesn't rely on you to be there all the time. If you have a business like that, it becomes more valuable, it becomes more impactful because you can do more stuff, you can innovate, create, make change, and drive better results. It's a good place to be, right? So my final 3 tips or 3 words before we leave this video, and I hope this has been of value to you. It's definitely changed my life and given me the ability to drive a successful business without driving me into the ground. I hope you take that on board, and there's a lot there that we've shared. And obviously it's not everything, but if you want to know more about what we do, then there'll be a link below. Come and catch up with a call with one of us, and we'll be glad to help you. We want to help you get to that next level in your business. Now, before we go, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. I'll be providing as much free information as I possibly can to help people, help coaches and consultants build a world-class coaching business and get to that $100,000 per month in revenue. So before we go, these are my 3 biggest tips I want you to take away, and think about these, simmer on these, because they are the big game changers, right? Number 1, if you want to scale a business, the number 1 component or lesson or impact that you need to take on board is mindset. Mindset is everything. Mindset, if you want to scale a business, you need to grow your mindset. You need to feed your mind with the right stuff, be around the right people, have the right outlook, always be in a position where you're in a place where you're in control of your mindset. And that's everything from the way you think, your emotions, and to what you're doing every day, right? Mindset is focus. Number 2, and this is a very big thing, right? Revenue is insanity. If you're focusing on revenue, you're going to go broke. Focus on profit. Profit is everything. Know your numbers. Get clear about what those numbers look like, and don't be afraid of them. Challenge them, understand them, get control of them so that you know how to get into a profit position, because when you're in profit, oh boy, it's very motivational. It's a very good place to be. And finally, this is the last one, and this is the last of my pages on my flip chart. The last one is very important, right? Number 3, there's a cost of entry to get to success. The cost of entry is not for everybody. This is a VIP place to be. To scale a business, to get to $100,000 a month and beyond, is for people that are prepared to pay the cost of entry. What is the cost of entry? The cost of entry is effort and money. You're going to have to put that stuff in. You've got to get in your mindset and understanding that you're going to pay that cost. If you want to get to that scaling point, this is important. Your cost of entry is the money and effort that you're going to put into your business. And the more effort you put in, the more revenue you'll make. So money and time and effort all play the role in getting you to that point of that $100,000 per month. If you can do all of these things, getting to that point is super easy. Now, there's obviously a lot involved. Sure, there's a lot involved because here's the thing, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But it's only the few 1%ers that are prepared to challenge the status quo, pay the cost of entry, get themselves in the right mind space, and do whatever it takes to make it happen, that get the results. So If you want to get to scale your business, if you want to make a huge impact, it's all up to you. You are the only one that can stop you from doing that. Thank you. My name is Matthew White. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.